Oh man, this is a big blob of text I was hoping I could glance over. I'll have to actually read it later. But alright, folks, it's the Korean qualifiers for the Fight Before Christmas. This tournament is, of course, brought to you in part by CM Storm, as well as Chairs for Gaming, so you can check them out. Although, yeah, this is, again, pretty much the majority of every prize pool we do does not come directly from the sponsors, per se. They give us cool stuff to give away and a little bit of extras to add on to it, but it's, again, you guys who make all this possible. So thank you for viewing this, thank you for watching, thank you for tuning in. Shout out, by the way, to Milk and Cookies. Not only did he give us a $5 donation with a heart, he also subbed to the channel. I missed that earlier, so much love goes out to you because I know what time it is. But spawning here in the top right corner of the map, I give you the blue Terran player from TCM. It's YoDa.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, it's Samsung Galaxy's Armani.
Again, with this a live clan, whatever that's about. Armani's a funny guy. I think he's like the only player who's probably had like any quote-unquote success in rebranding his name. Because the luck of it was, not a lot of people knew him when he was burning. So when he swapped over to Armani, and then he started doing things like winning Home Story Cup qualifiers, and like that's what caught attention of people. That's what really stood out as something different. So Armani has definitely come into his own in the last year's StarCraft 2. It is interesting because it's both Armani and Solar we saw in the Zotac Cups. They were the first Koreans to really branch out over to like the foreign scene and regularly play and go for StarCrafts, Zotacs, etc. So it's cool. We've seen Armani for a long time. Just a lot of you might not realize because once upon a time he was known as Burning, but perhaps not the same success as Solar. Still a good player.
Burning? Yeah, it probably sounds like a really cool English word, but it's really not. Like, fire, no, that's not better either.
I wouldn't say
burning,
it's good versus bad. It's just nothing.
I really don't think like burning is not a good word.
Well, Armani is a suit, and I guess.
Okay, Armani actually. I mean, like Armani's not that much better. But I don't. I feel like it's more recognizable, maybe because it is because he won when he was Armani and not burning. But I oftentimes forget that he was burning.
Well, Armani, as good as he is, as much as I'd like to talk him up, the reality is YoDa's TVZ has always been pretty good. I've never really been disappointed by it. Some of my favorite matches were back in the WCS qualifiers, actually, where it was YoDa versus Golden, and we got to cast those, I think, 2 seasons ago, I want to say. Some of the best TVZs I got to see, and that was like no cheese, no swarmos, just a solid back and forth. So I know that YoDa's mindset in this matchup is pretty well off. But a lot of Zerg players, man, even the best Zerg players have just been not loving this matchup. You know, I'm not gonna go as far as to say they've been crying unnecessarily or anything, but they've not been loving the matchup, that's for sure.
Well, I got a question. Do you know any Terrans that aren't good in the CVT matchup?
Moi.
Okay, you don't count. And also, why? TVZ is the easiest. I mean, it's so hard. Terran is so hard. It's hard. Not just kidding.
Well, we can say this, but I mean, like, then again, I want to make jokes aside, reference back to, like, say, the DreamHack finals. Or not DreamHack, sorry, the WCS finals, you know? Like, MMA versus life. Everyone makes the excuse for MMA, like, you didn't practice that matchup, but MMA's TVZ's always been so damn good.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, okay, maybe they'll have bad days or bad matches or against bad players, but I've never actually heard someone say, like, oh, this guy's TVZ is pretty bad. Never. TVP? Sure. TVT? Definitely. Looking at you, Innovation. TVZ?
Ooh.
Not so much.
The shots are
That's like
fired.
a year late in the shots fired, but sure.
I love this, by the way. Like, there's so many instances where you will take shots, like, jokingly, of course, at, like, players like Innovation, but I am the one who gets the flack for it. It's like, Rifkin overly criticizes players. Rifkin's so negative. Like, look, can you stop bringing me down, Zombie, by proxy? Jesus.
No, it's like, you know, since you're so, you know, pessimistic, whenever I do it, it's like a drop in the bucket, right?
Okay, well, we get the Hellion and the Banshee opener here at YoDa. Pretty classic way to open this game. He didn't go for the greedy, faster third CC. We don't see an Armory being slapped down, so no Hellbats. It's just pretty standard old school Hellions and Banshees.
Yeah, it's so common on Overgrowth. I don't know why anyone would expect anything different.
Do you remember when there was that small period of time, though, where you know, Hellbats were just falling out of favor, you know, after that patch change, and people started going back to this standard build, and all the Zerg players forgot how to play against it?
I think that's still the case, really. I don't. It's not 100% of the games, but like 50% of the games, They'll just be like, I don't know how to defend my third. Oh, it's dead. Oh, that happened. And I'm just like, it was just only 2 banshees. Like that was a normal opener.
Yeah, it was like
You're a pro
DreamHack
gamer.
anytime anyone played against 4GG. You're like, oh, like, okay, granted, like there's some extreme cases like Catalina that were different, but I mean, it's like, oh, banshees. How do I even? What?
Yeah, it's kind of happening again so far. I don't think Armani has scouted that it is banshees. No, he is not. The Overlord is actually not in position at all. It will die, I think, before it sees it. And by that time, like the banshee's already over on the other side. Just kidding, Overlord. And there's no Spore Crawler. That could do a lot of damage to the hatchery.
Meanwhile, the Queen's, of course, is going to be preoccupied over here fending off the Hellions. And if they go to respond to the Banshee, quite frankly, the Banshee comes in and kills them too. So some free kills here in the natural. Not a ton, but the Spore Crawler is on the way, so somewhat limited here with his time. But
that's going to be a lot
shots.
About 3 more? Yeah, you use that micro. And even when the Spore Crawler finishes, you get a couple more to go into the gas geyser or whatnot.
Oh,
Hellions working. Yeah, they're gonna
Spine
die.
Crawler, please. Like, he could actually just get up in melee range and keep from burrowing, but it's not going to matter. It takes so long to burrow that that Banshee just trucks it hard. Now, there is a counterattack of Lynx. I mean, what are they going to do other than die to Hellions at home? So going across the map, but these are not a bad idea. But with a wall off down and no Banelings, these are just going to pull a couple SCVs to repair, I guess.
Not sure why the Banshees were pulled back. Spore Crawler wasn't there and an Overseer wasn't nearby. But I guess YoDa doesn't know that. He doesn't know when the lair finished up or...
I think he was also a little bit concerned that there were going to be Banelings here. Like, he pulled everything back. This wasn't just the Banshees. Like, the Hellions come home too. He's got to clean this up and he knows it. So he's going to find the Banelings. Nice scout out of YoDa. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Kind of, you know, you should have. So good job, YoDa. But that should have been something you definitely scouted. So good job on doing kind of what you... I guess you should do. Like, Overgrowth is just so common, and of course we cast so many games and we know all because we're omnipotent, but
yep.
We're like, you know, Lings are at the 3rd, Banshees are on this map, and yet we see still, you know, that type of Baneling attack do a lot of damage. But YoDa was good to check it.
I'm really loving the CC being taken over here. I'm a little bit shocked we didn't have the Overlord dropping creep though, so this kind of goes down without any contest.
Yeah. A little surprising to see, even still, that 3rd taken, specifically. It's still up to, like, style preference the player, but I feel like most people like the one off to the left.
I still think, given the player with good reactions, this one's a lot better, just because you're guaranteed that watchtower control. Like, you're still, no matter what 3rd you take, you're playing somewhat the same amount of open area to defend. But I guess in this particular one, you've at least got the watchtower, so you'll be better prepared. You get positioning up better. Maybe I mean, I really don't know the exact reasoning for preference of one versus the other, but that's definitely a huge benefit you get from this 3rd. So for YoDa's sake, it also consolidates where he's pushing outwards. So as he comes down here, he's also defending the 3rd. Whereas over here, you can't really push to the left and then down. So
yeah, well. Here's the thing, though, is that it should be the response of Armani to scout that that's the 3rd taken, and then actually try and get the one that the Banshees are at right now, right there. So then you take away the whole, like, my line of attack is also my line of defense. But anyways, he just cancels the 4 solids attack coming. Is he prepared for it?
He's got a couple of Banelings out. It's really not something he can't deal with, but his army supply is like half of YoDa. I mean, it's not going to be an efficient trade no matter how you look at it. The mutas are finally on the way, though, and those Banshees, you know, they've been kept alive for so long. They haven't done the most damage in the world, but the fact that they're still alive is going to pay off greatly if they don't get sniped by the mutas. You know, 2 Banshees we have seen personally win a game just by picking off Banelings.
YoDa's really in control of this game. Armani will have to work, like, wonders with the mutas to actually do anything to come back. His upgrades are also going to be later. Okay, not that much later. He starts them right now, but... really is down to that army supply, and the lack of creep spread on that 3rd is kind of disappointing, considering that I don't think any queens died to the Banshees and the Hellions, and there were like 4. I thought the creeps would be a lot further out.
I would agree. I guess the queens have been held up in the main, though. They were looking for Banshees. They didn't really want to start pushing out that creep and get picked off. So I'm not surprised, but yeah, you're right. Like, I do think it could be better. Whether that's a detriment or not, we'll see. I was kind of thinking, watching this game, though, like, who was it? Nerd Show we cast recently. Like, didn't even touch mutas, right? Just went, like, pure Banelings and Zerglings.
Yes.
And I think, wasn't that versus YoDa as well, or am I mistaken?
It might have been.
I'm trying to remember, gosh, but either way, like, there's certain styles of Zerg where you can play from behind and get ahead. A lot of it comes down to engagements, a lot of it comes down to a little bit of luck, but we'll see how this plays out. Because with Baneling speed, with +1 weapons, I mean, like, Armani's gonna wipe out this first force. It's a matter of how much he uses to wipe it out, though, because he has to retain enough to deal with round 2, with round 3, with a rally of reinforcements.
Like I would love is maybe a drop off to the right for YoDa. Armani tries to get into the you know, the base, but that's also a benefit of taking the base that YoDa did, is that I think counterattacks are a little more difficult as long as you have your eye on your supply because of the natural. Oh, big attack actually goes in. He goes for it in the front. I actually decides not to go for it.
Well, the bunker's gonna fall here pretty quickly for YoDa, and this base will follow suit. He's actually gonna pull back home with just about everything. The small amount of AC left over here do get picked up from the Medevacs. Not gonna die here, but he's lost a lot of SCVs. That's good hold position control here on Armani. He's gonna pick off the rest of the workers.
I thought there was going to be disastrous Baneling or Widowmine on Baneling explosion. I don't think that actually did occur. I guess he still has most of them alive. But a drop on the main kills the queen that was there. It's going to kill a couple of drones as well. That's a really nice drop so far.
Two Marines versus 1-1 Blades. So cleaning this up is not going to be fun. Not until the Banelings get here at least. So he does push this back, but takes about 8 drones as a loss. Going to lose his 4th most likely. I mean, good pre-split here out of YoDa, but does Armani even have enough to respond to this with? Banelings are rolling in. There's a couple of mutas, but this hatchery is going to fall.
Yeah, never really used
actually,
either.
He's transfusing like nuts. He might actually keep this alive. Maybe? No, he's just going to pull out. I like that he pulls the drones too. Going to minimize losses.
Yeah. It never really got to be used. He had to cancel his first one because it was off on the right, and then it takes a while to put it over here. And by that time, YoDa realized what was happening. He did change his attack avenue. Now, it's still probably better to use that base, even if it just died, because, well, the creep's still over there, and it's still a little bit more out of the way for YoDa, but he is going to take the one off to the bottom right.
Those Banshees, I'd forgotten about them. Hopefully Armani hasn't, because while there's a Spore Call up here, these will take out that Queen very quickly. It's just going to go for gas, but never mind. Pulling them up.
Going on a creep like this is a little dangerous, but he is spread, and again, he's doubling the army supply of Armani. A good counterattack tries to take care of the 4th. Will get cleaned up, though.
I think YoDa's got a really good force here, though. I mean, there's really not that many Banelings, and the ones that are, they're all spread out in such a weird hold position way. He's really worried about rolling in for this engagement, because, you know, a couple of Thors, a couple of Marauders, like, he can't necessarily stop this without going all in. And he is going to go all in with his forces, so he rolls through the back best he can. Widowmine's going to get a great shot off on those Banelings. Takes out pretty much every single one of them. Yes, Armani's going to push this back, but he's got almost no army supply for round 2.
Yeah. And it is that round 2. I mean, that was a surprisingly good fight. A lot of those Widowmines at that last one didn't do so much, but he has lost the creep. He is starting to respread it, but the round 2 for YoDa is already here. It's going to clean it up, going to kill that queen.
He's got no Banelings. That's the biggest problem right now. I mean, he really needs Banelings to deal with this. Zerglings aren't going to cut it. 2-2 Zerglings versus this many Marines. GG is simply going to be called. YoDa will take game 1 in this best of 3.